We're going to go live onto Facebook. Let's see if we are live on Facebook. Yes, we are. Welcome, Cwenga, all the way from Kapstad. Cape Town. Welcome to the show, our show that we call Plan of Action. And really the whole idea of this show is to understand a couple of things. This is where we put you in the limelight. One, in terms of your joining Value Ed, and two, in terms of any plans of actions that you've been able to apply as a consequence of Value Ed. So welcome, Cwenga. And tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey in Value Ed.
Yes. So firstly, I just want to say thank you so much, Uncle Vic, for this incredible opportunity to just share how much Value Ed has impacted my life. So I'm Cwenga, I'm 23 and I'm here in Cape Town at the University of Cape Town studying my honors in film and TV studies. And Value Ed has been an incredible learning community that I encountered in 2021, last year. It all started with my mom sending me an email and sort of me going into it and coming across the wonderful learning community that is Value Ed. And I joined the social media and personal branding course with Rafili, as I really felt that it spoke directly out of all the other courses to my career interests. And in fact, since I've taken that course, Value Ed and what that course has particularly done for me is almost planted a seed and like focused my career in terms of branding. I'm now suddenly very interested in doing brand management as like a career. So that is an incredible thing that Value Ed has sown that seed in me and has really, without even trying, given me quite a clear focus for my career and what I want to do with my life. And in the process, through all the courses that I have been attending, Value Ed has really added so much knowledge and has given me so much personal development and understanding of myself and how I, together with the talents and the skills that I have, can really shape the world around me in the context in which I exist. And so, yeah, that is where I'm at and what I'm doing and who I am.
Fantastic. And added to that, you are our inaugural ambassador at Value Ed. And we picked you specifically because, we really believe that within the constructs and the confines of Value Ed, there are those that are really pursuing their own agenda in the sense of developing themselves and improving themselves and are consistent at it. And as you say, it's been since last year that you've been doing this. And in your industry specifically, you have the ability to be the master of your own destiny, because usually in your industry, you need to wait for a script and somebody and an agent and hope and pray and, all that sort of stuff. Now, you can be a director, an actor, and a producer all in one, right? Because you can be the master of your own destiny, which is actually fantastic. So thank you to your mommy. Hey, I came across a quote here, your quote, Marianne Williamson quote. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Tell me about that. Why was that the quote that you picked?
I've always resonated very deeply with that quote as my greatest fear, especially when I've been like just about to perform or do a presenting gig or MC. What really shivers me to the core and that like really makes me scared is how well I'm going to shine on stage. It really terrifies me to know that I am going to be brilliant and I'm going to, that my potential is so great that I can't even fathom it. I've always just been so scared to be the best of me. And that it sounds quite ironic. It sounds quite weird, but it's just genuinely something so scary to think that, I could actually do that. I can actually be on that platform. I can create that organization. I can do all those things. It is terrifying to think that I could be so great in that capacity. So yeah, that's the context in which this quote really resonates with me.
And yet the rest of the quote talks about when you are at your absolute and unequivocal best, when you do shine the brightest ever, you give others the right to be able to do the same, right?
That's so true. Yeah. It's really about letting other people also feel confident and comfortable to shine their brightest selves and to be their best selves. And that's what makes me not give up on my journey, and to make sure that I really do it so that someone else can believe that, hey man, I can do it too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And inspiring is the transfer of energy. So when you can inspire others, you transfer your energy to them. And what I resonate very powerfully with that is that your spirits meet, right? So if somebody is inspired by you, it means your spirit, your inner being has met their spirit, which enables that person to find their core DNA of who they are. So they want their light to shine. And those light, can you just imagine all these spirit lights shining because everybody else is transferring it. So tell me a little bit more about what you're doing now. So plan of action, what are the kind of things you've now, I know you a couple of things that you're really passionate about that you are beginning to embed. Tell us a little bit about that.
So stemming from the opportunities that ValueAid has opened for me, I've been very privileged to have been sort of encouraged to venture into managing an incubation business, which is the podcast business of ValueAid. And since that opportunity has arisen, I have really embarked on it with my whole heart, and I found a passion for using the power of podcasts to inspire the youth to have their say, to fight against the horrible and high youth unemployment rate in our country, and to use podcasts as a measure of communicating and reaching out to our societies and our different communities to say that we have greatness within us. We are able to be the leaders of our nation, and that it's time that, our older generation really empowers us, because we rise by helping others. And I think that the youth really need to be heard. We might be saying a lot, but I think we feel that no one is listening, and we want to use podcasts and all sorts of audiovisual broadcasting platforms to get the youth to almost unite and create like one voice and to better themselves. So we're really looking at starting podcasts in schools, which I think is the best place where young individuals are for us to target, get them to develop communication skills and knowing how to articulate themselves and their thoughts in whatever industry they might be in, that they could use podcasts as a learning tool, but also as a tool to voice themselves and empower others in the process. So heading off this business and getting it running is one of the things that I am working hard on, and I'm excited to be doing this year and forward.
And I said to you that you took a seed of an idea. I had a little seed, and you erupted it into a massive oak tree, because some of the ideas that you've come up with are powerful beyond measure. They're really, really going to, change the trajectory of communication, because, Cwenga, there's nowhere that communication is taking place, right? If I ask anybody in the audience, and welcome Fundi as well, if I ask anybody in the audience, where is there actually communication taking place around essential youth issues? There isn't. There's a little bit on ENCA, there's a little bit here, but it needs to be a dedicated 24-hour channel like CNN, where we are having those kind of discussions. And I truly believe that's what you're going to build, a real dedicated youth channel. Tell us a little bit about the idea that you had around, which I thought was brilliant, around utilizing it at schools to help almost as an extracurricular activity.
Yes. So when we approach schools with our podcast business, we're approaching it from an angle of it becoming an extramural that students can take. And so what we'd do is we'd set up some microphones and some cameras inside, acquire classroom and have the students come in after class and sit around a table and start discussing points of interest and starting to get like talks and debates and really important conversations going around for them. And what's really cool is that they could even use the podcast as like a study session, like a group of like them can come and study and like discuss like history notes and like, you know, maths formulas and all of that, and learn through this and go home with like a recorded podcast that they can sit and like listen to and remember, okay, this is points that could help. So it could be used for a diverse means of measure. And so the whole idea is to really get students and young people to be comfortable and confident to put their ideas out there and to engage in really meaningful conversations that can be platformed in important and high places that can bring genuine change for the youth employment and for the youth empowerment. So yeah.
Absolutely. And listen, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. I haven't watched his stuff in a while since he was in the studio, but that's a story for another day. One of the things that he said in his old studio, and he was able to get all sorts of people, celebrities and politicians and all that, to get into a studio and almost close, put their earphones on and speak for 2 hours, right? They were really able to carry on speaking for 2 hours for a period of time. And the reason why he said they were able to do that is they get lost in the communication. They forget. It's not like being in a chat show, right, where instantaneously you get the sense of audiences are around you. You're really lost in the communication of that. And the other thing I would advise you to do, yesterday I went to have a chat with a group of men who, another gentleman has started a program called My Gents, Let's Talk, and obviously with the great challenges of suicide. This is a platform, and I want you to get your view on this. This is a platform where young people can actually utilize as a means to just communicate in general, whether it's communicating about challenges at home, challenges at school, challenges with bullies, whatever the case may be. You can utilize this as that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so part of the podcast business is also wanting to target the likes of families and, social media influencers, quite a large range of people. But the purpose that we want to implement podcasts in that space is for also young people and families and couples to be able to use a podcast as a therapeutic tool of really just coming to talk the issues at matter that are concerning our hearts and that are concerning our mental health and emotional well-being. And really the best way is to talk about it. It's like going to see a psychologist. You go and you pay to talk to them about, our issues. And now we're taking out someone who we don't know, and we're actually coming together with the people that mean a lot to us and that can actually help us to reason our thoughts and our feelings out. And it's to really create a safe environment to begin to heal through words. The power of words, we can never underestimate how powerful our words are and how meaningful conversations, that could be had. Whenever I'm in quite a state or I'm quite affected, I always just sort of want to talk to my mom and my dad and sort of just have them, speak a bit of calm to me and speak a bit of understanding. And yeah, I just want to acknowledge them at this moment, Mom and Dad. Thank you so much that I could, just be able to converse and come to a point of reasoning and understanding. I can never underestimate that. And so podcasts would allow us to then not only, share our vision, our value, what is hurting us, what is concerning us, but later on in the future, I can go back to that and I can remember, okay, this is how Mom and Dad advised me to go about, feeling this way or having these thoughts. This is, what they've empowered me with these words and with this knowledge. So that is essentially what I believe, communities that are getting together and using podcasts as a means of opening up their hearts about serious issues that are concerning them. That's what they're going to get out of that.
Wow. Well, all I can say is when it comes to plan of action, Cwenga, you have a plan of action. And that ultimately, at the end of the day, is what we are trying to do at ValueAid, is to inspire, better choices to build tomorrow, and, apply those better choices to some kind of plan of action. And certainly you're doing that. We're really, really proud of you. And it gives me great stead and great tribute to your mom and dad. It gives me great stead to know that our country, our future, my little daughter who's 7 years old, has got what I would consider powerful leadership coming in and coming through in the likes of yourselves, in order to, what I would call, rebuild this country, not necessarily build it, because we probably have to start from scratch. So thank you. That was your 15 minutes of fame. Fundi and Bulelwa and Tato, thank you very much for coming through and creating an audience here. Thank you to everybody who's been on Facebook. And yeah, any last words, Claire?
Thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for coming in. Thank you so much, Tato, for coming to support me. He's my RES coordinator, and he's been really making me feel at home here. So thank you so much for coming in and creating just a great community of learning with ValueAid. Thank you, Uncle Vic, once again for hosting me, and I look forward to many more times for us to get together and talk action.
Absolutely. And thank you all. Thanks very much. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend and Saturday, and we'll catch each other next week with more ValueAid learnings. All right. Awesome. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
Cheers. Thanks to you, Vic.
No, absolute pleasure for me. Thanks
for
very
the
much.
Opportunity that you've given to Cwenga to be able to share her ideas and her leadership. It's great to see the young lady and the young woman that she's becoming. And it's opportunities like these that actually allow people to blossom and find their niche. So well done to you, Cwenga.
Thank you,
and
Dad.
keep on keeping on.
Hey, I like that. Fantastic.
Awesome. No, thank you so much.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Tato.
Thank you, Tato.